And it's a Fagan Friday here on Sports Hub STL. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Joe Roderick, Ryan Fagan with you here on Cards Hub 365, powered by Gray Bar. It's the I-70 series this weekend, rivalry weekend around all of baseball. The storied rivalries of the Diamondbacks and the Rockies.
Some more story than others, right?
Yes.
There are degrees of story.
Right. You get, you have 15 matchups to work with, and you hit it on like 11, 12 of them, and then you're just like, well, crap.
You guys go sort yourselves out.
You guys get to play each other this weekend.
Yeah.
Most of the other ones, you have the pieces in place, but then it just doesn't.
Well, and some of them, I mean, like if it was just strictly the biggest rivalries, it would be Cardinals Cubs.
Right.
I get why they're doing the Royals versus the Cardinals, but yeah, I mean, whatever. You're trying to drum up interest on a weekend
interleague
in March.
Rivalry weekend.
Yes.
Is it all interleague? Is it all 15 series interleague games?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, because it's Rangers Astros this weekend, and then I guess Rockies Diamondbacks is how that gets made up for. So that's how they justify all of those. But anyway, we're going to be focusing on Cardinals and Royals. That one starts tonight in Kansas City for the 3-game series. It's Andre Palante. Cole Reagans on the mound. Was doing a little bit of research earlier and saw that the Cardinals, they obviously dominate this series overall over time,
right?
But 46-24 all time at Kauffman Stadium.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
but Kansas City was pretty bad for a lot of those years.
But still, going in there on the road and dominate. I mean, 22 games over 500 is good.
That's impressive. Yeah,
that's when you're going to hold on to for a while.
The Cardinals during their heyday were very good at beating the teams they needed to beat, right? And that was one of the reasons they constantly piled up those 85, 90, 95 win teams, is because you beat the teams you have to beat. And I think it sounds like such a simple thing, but when you come down to the end of the season and playoff spots are being decided by 1 and 2 games, and how you did against the teams like the pre-Bobby Witt, pre-Eric Hosmer Royals really mattered in the standings. And so, it's those are not the same Royals, though.
I wanted to look up, as you mentioned the 85-90 wins before the season started. I got really big odds on the Cardinals winning 87 games. I was going to see if I could cash that out yet at the moment. It was plus 370 was the odds on that. And I was looking if I could cash out right now, and I cannot. It will not let me cash out. I was wondering at what point they would let me start to cash that out.
Well, I'll say this. I do a lot of freelance writing for Opta analysts, and their predictions site is kind of fascinating to me the way it works. Right now, they have the Cardinals predicted at 90 wins. Their system likes the Cardinals, so they like that bet that you made. It's got the Cardinals at a 59% chance to make the playoffs, 30% chance to win the division, 20% chance to make the LCS, which I think any Cardinals fan 2 months ago would have said, yes, I will sign up for that right now.
I was looking earlier. I was looking at their record, looking at how they 10-3 in the month of May. I was trying to break down their record earlier. And one of the things Baseball Reference does is kind of like the expected record, or what their record should be based on all the stats. I was surprised to see that the expected record, I think, was 25-19. It was only 1 game different in what the expected record was, because if you look back at it, 7 blown leads, I think, is what we were sitting at when we were getting really like kind of deep into the bullpen and kind of overanalyze. Tearing into what this bullpen was and
what it was not, more importantly.
Right. And you look at that and you're thinking, okay, 7 blown saves should be that I thought that'd be a lot higher. I thought that record would be more, towards 30. Or so, that maybe like 28 or something like that. I was surprised to see right now they only expected like a 1 game difference.
Yeah, I think that typically looks more like the runs scored, runs against, and the run differential and stuff in that. So so maybe the bullpen. Well, the bullpen still costs. I think we talked about it then. If it was 7 blown saves, right? let's say the Cardinals won 3 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
3 of those games where they blew a save.
Yeah.
That's all of a sudden, I mean,
Right.
that's up there with the best records in the league.
And when you look at it, I'm trying to think, because those are games they gave away.
Yeah.
Has there been a game that you kind of look at and or in this recent run, the 9-game win streak, or I guess the 9 out of 10 that they've won, is there a game that you look at and you go, wow, they really, they grab that victory out of the jaws of defeat type game? I don't, as I'm looking through, none's really coming to mind.
Not necessarily. I think they just did a good job of I mean, they had the right guys in the bullpen in the right moments.
Yeah.
They worked those matchups, and part of that is the starters being better. It's Michaelis being better.
Right.
So he's going deeper. So you don't have to use more guys on days that he starts or someone else starts. And so you can put the matchups in that you want. You can get Kyle Leahy throwing against the guys you want, and you can get him using his success against lefties, and kind of working along those lines. And, I mean, it just, I mean, not to be cliche, but it all comes down to pitching, right?
Right.
The bullpen has to be good. The starters have to be good to put the bullpen in position to be rested, to be good when they get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something they've done all around very well lately.
In the comments, and feel free to join in on the YouTube chat. Bub says the bullpen is not my biggest worry for now. I could see a future where the starting pitching regresses. So are we already looking ahead and saying, hey, nothing bothers me now, but this will? Like, are we going to live in a world where we're starting to, instead of enjoying the success, we're just going to worry about what could happen? And I'll tell you this, I'm not worried about the start. I could see a game or two. We saw Sonny Gray, not the best outing on Wednesday night, game 2 of that doubleheader. Sonny Gray was not good. If that's the worst that we see this time through the rotation, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. But the thing is, you have right now 7 starters that you can essentially go to. If one of these guys starts to fall off and has a few bad starts in a row, okay, Steven Matz, you're now a starter. A second one does.
Oh, he's so important in that bullpen as a lefty.
He is, but he's been so good in his starts too.
I know, but
without
the other left with Libator in the rotation,
the confidence is coming back in JoJo Romero.
It is.
You can see that in that Philadelphia series, you need a good lefty against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And they went to him in some big spots, and he came through.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I look at that and I'm like, okay, JoJo is back on it right now. He's back on Ollie's good side. He's going to be used in some big spots, 6th, 7th inning. If you need him, you have JoJo and you have Kyle Leahy now in that 6-7 spot in there. And then it's Maton and Helsley still 8-9. But that's where I'm just saying, though, if there's an issue, you go to Steven Matz. He's been good as a starter.
Yeah.
But you also have the best pitcher in the entire organization still down in Memphis.
I think, to me, that's more of option one. Should somebody falter, bringing McGreevy up, and I mean, especially the way that he threw the time he got an opportunity, he clearly belongs at this level. Clearly cannot just compete at this level, but thrive at this level. So he's the guy that, and at some point, he may just force their hand anyway. It may not take somebody completely falling apart, and it could be that. I mean, look, there's so many possibilities, and the way the next couple months will play out will impact what the Cardinals do as the trade deadline comes along. That's something that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I don't think we can necessarily try to predict yet because
because
there's a couple ways to look at it, right? Because if they're playing like they have been the last 2 weeks, if they continue to play that for the next 2 months, well, then they're a contender, right? So you can't trade away guys. But the other thing is, because so many teams are contenders, the price is high. You can get a lot of return because there are fewer sellers now with the expanded playoffs. And I feel like there's always teams that are willing to overpay if there's something you need. And I think Cardinals at least should be wise to keep that as an option, kind of like Tampa Bay did last year. You could trade away some, add where you need to, and without like impacting your ability to compete. And maybe that's trading a starter.
Yeah.
If McGreevy comes up and all of a sudden you have an extra guy and there's a contender that has a couple of guys go down, you trade him away. And I think that's going to be what's interesting to me, see how it plays out.
I could see, and that's where, again, I got into an argument with somebody the other day about this team.
Argument?
Yeah, right.
No.
About this team being sellers at the deadline, saying none of this matters. This win streak doesn't matter now. They're still going to sell at the deadline. They are one game back of the NL Central right now.
Maybe
one game back of the NL Central right now. You're telling me that the DeWitts are going to go to Mo in his final season and give up home playoff games to say, hey, we're going to sell off these assets that we have? I could see trading away Eric Fetty somewhere to bring McGreevy up.
Yeah.
That's not selling.
Right.
That's improving. That's improving your team. But can you see a scenario where they have a shot at winning the NL Central and they go, yeah, we're going to trade away Helsley? I mean, that is just like what happened in Milwaukee. When Milwaukee traded Josh Hader to the Padres, and everything, I mean, it just went to hell.
Plus, they had Devin Williams as a backup, which I know he struggled at times after that. But to your point, no, I don't think they will. And here's another reason why. If you're trying to give your young guys, not only, we've talked about forever about the runway you're going to give them, but what you're really talking about is you want to give them experience in the big leagues facing big league caliber pitching. You also want to give them the experience of playing in a playoff chase. And I think that's just as important, because I've talked to lots of guys, lots of players over the years. And they will tell you that the experience of playing on a contending team in the last couple of months is unlike anything else. The games matter more, and I know they don't matter more in terms of the standings. A win is a win, is a loss, a loss. It matters more to the players, that intensity, how players respond in those moments. And there is no better way to see what you have out of young guys than to put them into games that really, really matter over an extended period of time. So, I mean, nobody really considered that as something that was going to be a part of the equation in the offseason. But if they're a contending team, there is no better way to see what you have than to see how they do in August and September when every game matters.
And right now, there's been a lot of home games that the crowd has been embarrassing.
It's not been great. I don't want to use the word embarrassing. The attendance has not been good. But embarrassing
for the Cardinals, though.
It's embarrassing for the Cardinals. It's not embarrassing for the fans, because
no. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I was getting to. Was the whole point of hosting playoff games, and I'm saying for how embarrassing it was. Yeah. The Angels. I was at that Monday night game where it was the lowest attended crowd there, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I've been to some other stadiums and some other really poorly attended games, and it was shocking to see that at Busch. Yeah. What I'm saying is, you're telling me that they're going to give up the opportunity for 2 or 3 games in that wild card series of 45,000, and then on and on and on from there. Because I keep saying the wild card series because as out there as my thinking might be of this being, they're 1 game back, so it's not as asinine as it was a week or 2 ago. But to kind of look at this and say this team has a chance of winning the NL Central, I am not saying this team will get a bye, one of those first 2 byes in beating out an NL East or the NL West champion.
So even if it's division champions, still
they will. This is a team that can win the NL Central, but then we'll be sitting there facing the last the third wild card team,
which might have a better record than the NL Central.
It's going to be, it's going to be the 3rd place team in the NL West or the NL East. That's what it's going to be. So, or the Cubs, possibly.
It's
in
possible.
There too.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was there for that
2015.
That was quite the environment. That was a lot of fun.
I almost got onto the mound after the game on that. I just kept walking out further and further. I crossed the first base line before they finally were like, "No, you got to go back." I watched those final outs from the little camera well on the first base dugout. I made my way down there, and then I just kept walking further and further out. And they were like, "You're not any family of any of this. You're not a rights holder. Get the hell off the field." And I was like, all right, I made it far enough. Ryan and I have a very different way of covering games. Ryan's there. Ryan is there to write and get his story. I kind of want to see where I can go, and then make stories from there in that aspect. So, but that's again the Royals this week, and we haven't even gotten into previewing the series against the Royals. And there was some runway stuff I wanted to talk about too in all of this. Before we go any further, though. This is Cards Hub 365, powered by Gray Bar. Gray Bar, they have you covered for your nationwide logistics. If you have supply chain issues and they're disrupting your operations, have no fear. Gray Bar has you covered. They are a trusted and leading North American distributor of electrical communications, data networking, and industrial products. Gray Bar literally supports products of any industry: construction, hospitals, industrial plants, schooling. It doesn't matter. Just one clear mission: to serve as that vital link in the supply chain, adding value for customers and suppliers. So here's what you need to do. Visit graybar.com to start an order today. That's graybar.com. And fix those supply chain issues with Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and data comm needs. Cardinals head in to Kansas City for 3 games this weekend. It's games like this, series like this, you can talk about, what was it last week when we were talking about the national series? You get to see some young up and coming stars that haven't done anything yet. This weekend, you get to see a full-blown ass star, top 5 player in all of baseball in Bobby Witt Jr. So it's always fun when you get to see those superstars play. It
is. I remember I was in spring training in Surprise a couple years ago, there to talk to Witt for a piece I was doing for Sporting News, and I talked to Nicky Lopez, the middle infielder, who was there, and he was kind of sitting next to Bobby. And he just told me, he goes, "This kid," and he just kind of smiled. And I'm thinking, Nicky Lopez, you're not really old enough to be calling somebody a kid, but that's how young Bobby Witt Jr. was at the time. And he's just like, he's going to be anything he wants to be. And I think, we saw with Witt early in his career, he struck out a lot, right? He made mistakes. He was not a particularly good defensive fielder early in his career. They moved him over. They started him at third base for a while. They moved him over. He has worked so hard on his game. And I think one of the things that really was so impressive last year, last year we saw what he did at the plate, right? Just was incredible. Hit led the league with a 330 average, 332 average, 32 homers, 31 stolen bases. But he defensively improved year over year in a way that really was shocking. His outs above average and all of these defensive metrics were incredible after not being good his first couple of years. We always said, well, he's got the potential. And what was so cool about last year was watching him step into that potential all at once and become a guy who, he finished in the MVP voting second. Yeah. And really, probably would have won most years.
Oh yeah.
If not,
no, his stat line too.
Aaron
and
Judge
when you talk
insane.
About value to the team,
I
by far and away was, head and shoulders, I think, of more value. The Yankees probably could have snuck into the playoffs with Juan Soto leading the charge without an Aaron Judge. It would have been tough. There's a lot of people would have to pick stuff up, but Bobby Witt Jr. is the reason the Royals made some noise in the playoffs last year and made it as far as they did. 211 hits, as you mentioned, led the league with a 332 average, and this year right back on it, hitting 312 with an OPS of 904 on the season. 15 stolen bases, near the tops in all of baseball. Doubles, leads all of baseball right now. The power has not been there for him though.
We got to remember that's a tough park, right? That is not a park where you're going to hit a lot of home runs. The fact that he has hit 32 years in a row is really a testament to what he is. I'd be curious to see, not that he's ever leaving Kansas City, as he should not. The Royals locked him up to a long-term deal, as they should have. But if he was playing elsewhere, what would his home run totals be like? I don't know. But he's just, he's already, last year he had the 9.4 WAR by Baseball Reference. He's already at 2.7 this year, on track to be right up there again. Yeah. He's not going to win the MVP though, because Aaron Judge is ridiculous.
Yeah, has options that kick in starting in 2031, but signed with the Royals right now through 2037 when he would be 37 years old. So the Royals, he's going to be worth more than $35 million a year by the time he gets to that 2031.
That's going to go down as one of the greatest contracts for a team ever.
It's that he's probably going to exercise his option then, and they will have to pay a lot of money for that. Whatever new ballpark they're building, the fans better show up to out there. But yeah, right now that is it seems like a very team friendly deal they have. But here's the thing about it. Right now he is he 25 yet? June 14th, he turns 25 years old, and he's putting up these numbers. For everybody that wants to sit there and bitch and complain about Jordan Walker at the moment, Jordan Walker is 22 years old.
Bobby Witt, his age 23 season, had an on-base percentage of .319.
Mm-hmm.
It took Bobby Witt 2 full years of 600 plus plate appearances.
Yeah.
To become what he was. Now, he was better in those 2 years of 600 plate appearances than what we've seen from Walker, generally speaking. But there were struggles. There were struggles. When you're 22, 23, there are struggles. I think, and that's not to say Jordan Walker is going to become Bobby Witt Jr., but yeah, it's not time to panic.
No, absolutely not. And here's the thing that I wanted to get into today about the runway, because that has been the word of the year with the Cardinals has been runway this, runway that. And all eyes, for good reason, have been on Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman, waiting for them to do something, to take advantage of every little opportunity that they get and run with it. But when you hear that runway, Nolan Gorman is what, 25? I think right now, is he 24 or 25?
It's his age 25 season. He is. Yeah, he just turned 25 6 days ago.
Oh, okay. I think I remember them posting that. Okay, so he's Nolan Gorman 25, Jordan Walker 22. You also have other guys. If that's your window for the runway, if that's what you're looking at, and you're saying, "Hey, this age group, this is what we're looking at." You have right now Havon Herrera at 24, Mason Wynn at 23, and Victor Scott II at 24. So you have 3 other guys that are also in that window that are on that runway that have been key contributors to this team. So instead of sitting here and complaining about what Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman have not done for you, realize that you have 3 guys in your lineup, also 2 of them in very important spots defensively. Every single day. I mean, up Herrera, we will not. I mean, Herrera is going to be hit and miss behind the plate, but every single day you have Victor Scott in center and Mason Wynn at short. That you have these 2 guys right now. Let's focus on those 2 being the centerpieces of this runway and the guys that you're going to look at and be, the future of this franchise, and take anything that Walker and Gorman do as a bonus on top of what these 3 are already doing.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, and I think you can look at it in a way and say, okay, well, the Cardinals are 1 game out of first place, 24-20, with Walker batting $184 and Gorman batting 173. What happens if they do start to hit?
Right.
When they do start to hit, because they haven't done much. I feel like Walker, I haven't looked at his numbers. There's probably not to back it up, but anecdotally, it feels like every time I watch him, there's somebody up on base. He comes up with a big hit. He's done that a couple times lately. And not lately, but in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's not been the start they want. But you're right. There's been a lot of, and JC is in that same category too at 23, who's hit when he's had a chance. Obviously, he's not here right now. But I mean,
their run recently was so good. I forgot the name Thomas JC. That's how good they've been lately. I have not complained about them sending him down once. I'm still on the McGreevy. I mean, I'm driving that train.
Yeah, as you should.
But I completely forgot about Sajasi.
Yeah.
God, they'd have a 13-14 game win streak over the last 9 or 10 if they had Sajasi up here hitting.
If he was still playing.
Yeah, they would have somehow added wins onto some of the losses that they've had. Here's what a few people throwing it out there, and some people commenting, going back and forth in the chat. Troy saying, tired of hearing people say Walker's only 22. He's a big league player. He needs to start playing better or get sent down, especially while they're in contention. To which you mama writes back, it's true though, Walker is only 22. Not worried about Walker. Gorman's the bigger letdown, and he shouldn't have a lot of runway left. Again, if you're looking at the ages of both of these guys and looking at what they are, what they still have left in front of them, just you're seeing signs out of Walker that's showing. I'm sure there's frustration there. I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Twice now in the last week, he has gotten big hits late in games. He hasn't done anything at the plate, but late in the game, he has come up with big hits.
Right. Better swings.
And in those situations. What was it? And he got the big hit. Did he have the big? Yeah, he had the big hit the game they lost. The first game of the doubleheader.
The run scoring.
And then the week
RBI.
before, the afternoon game the week before, had extended the lead, had the 2 RBI single late in that game too, to push them ahead. So late in games, he has come through, and defensively, outside of the misplay between him and Victor Scott in center field the other night on Monday night, outside of that, defensively has been outstanding in right field. So is not taking it with him out there, and is not a liability for you in the outfield either.
Yeah, and I could see, like, because there is a difference between Walker and Gorman, right? Because Gorman is 25, and while not old, that's 3 years of pro experience that he has on Jordan Walker. Right. So, I mean, if you're going to say there's a more of a worry, it would be for me with Gorman, who's still doing the same things he's done most of the time that he's been in the bigs, but he just isn't hitting the home runs.
Yeah. That's, I mean,
but he's not hitting the home runs.
And
I mean, I get it. And
it's this, I mean, he's going to swing and miss.
Yeah.
It's just the rate he's doing it at. That's one of those, I don't know. I mean, do you just strip it down to the bare basics and you just, hey, we're going to go and we're just going to try to pepper the ball in the cage constantly, just singles over the shortstop's head over and over, just so you're making contact and seeing the ball.
Yeah.
And then, hey, we're going to let it rip, because there were people the other day that were upset on Wednesday that he pitched hit late in the game. You were down 1 run. Nolan Gorman is up there to hit home runs. And he didn't. Like, if he makes contact, he's up there swinging for the fences.
And still, like, that's part of, not to use the word runway again, but that's part of giving guys an opportunity, is putting them in situations where they can impact the outcome of the game. Sometimes that's to the detriment of the team in that day. And I think that's when we look at it and say, okay, what are the Cardinals going to be? Right. And the Cardinals looking at it and say, what are we going to be? And that's a different conversation, right? From here to inside the ballpark. And that's what it's gonna be. And like, as the season goes on, if we get into August and September and you see the Cardinals are still competing and they're in the playoff chase, then maybe Nolan Gorman doesn't get that at bat, right? But as of right now, they're still in. Like,
if you need the 1 run, I mean, if you're down 1 run, you need a home run.
It's like, it doesn't,
and you're facing a righty, like, he's gonna be in there.
For now, yeah. And
I think if he's on your roster, if he's on your bench, you go to him.
We'll see. I think we'll see when we get to August and September. We'll see if that changes.
We will, but if it does, that shows that all confidence has just been completely lost in him by that point. If he can't even do that for you,
I don't disagree with that.
Hitting refresh here, trying to find a lineup for tonight. Not out yet. 6:40 start time for that game between the Cardinals and the Royals in Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Jump on your DraftKings Pick 6 app and take a look at some of the plays that you can make tonight in all of Rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball. How about this? Head on over and see what you're getting for Jose Altuve in his game. The Rangers, by the way, pitching that was the game that was on, the only game that was on last night. So that's what I was watching last night, was Astros and Rangers, and it was Jacob deGrom against Hunter Brown,
which, you don't, knock on wood, deGrom's still healthy. That's fun. This was vintage.
Jacob deGrom and Cy Young caliber Hunter Brown. this year. It was a pitching duel last night in that one. But tonight, Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Rangers. Jose Altuve in his career against Nathan Eovaldi, 16 for 52 with 7 home runs.
Wow. That is not something I would have guessed. I would have taken the under on every single one of those things.
Yordan Alvarez against Nathan Eovaldi, 12 for 20 with 2 home runs.
Man, Eovaldi's been so good this year.
Christian Walker against Nathan Eovaldi, 5 for 9 in his career. The Astros hit Nathan Eovaldi well.
So what's going to happen is he's going to go out there and throw 7 shutout innings and give up.
I don't know.
Hits.
Yeah. After DeGrom shut him down last night, those Astros hitters are going to be ready to hit. Brady Singer versus Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez 12 for 27 with 3 home runs against Brady Singer. So I'm giving you the numbers here. You go to the DraftKings Pick 6 app and you see what some of those options are, whether it's total bases, home runs, whatever it might be. And you pick more or less of a category. It's just that simple. Select 2 or more players and choose that they'll have more or less of a stat on the DraftKings Pick 6 app. And if you haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports. For new customers, to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Lots of news in the world of baseball this week. First up, Matt Carpenter retired. I don't know if you noticed the shirt that I'm wearing today.
I did not even notice. I did not even notice.
It's the
got to be the salsa, right?
They got to be the salsa t-shirts for Matt Carpenter. So figured I'd wear this the next time I was on camera.
There you go.
This week, dug that one out. And then also the news that came down earlier this week, Rob Manfred lifting the suspensions on Shoeless Joe Jackson and the Black Sox and Pete Rose. They were lifetime suspensions.
They were on the permanently ineligible list, which is different than lifetime bans. So now
lifetimes are all over now, and they were they were removed from the permanently banned list.
It's permanent-ish, I guess.
Right.
It's not permanent.
You had some strong thoughts on this. Saw that you shared an article that you wrote a few years ago on Pete Rose.
Yeah. Look, Pete Rose was an incredible baseball player. No one doubts that. What he did while he was on the field, we haven't seen the longevity, the hits. He broke the rule. There's one rule, and he didn't break it one time. He broke it lots and lots of times. While he was manager, he bet on baseball. As everyone argues, he only bet on his team to win. Okay. That's what he says. I'm not sure we should believe anything that Pete Rose says. We know for a fact that he lied about betting on baseball for decades. So to say that he says he only bet on his team, whatever, but he didn't bet every day on his team to win. And that's part of it, right? That's why I don't think he should have come off. But I think when we're talking about who we should honor in baseball, in society, look, I told you this when I got here, but the first time I went to the Hall of Fame was back in 2012. I wanted to see, I was going to go in there and I was going to be a sleuth and a reporter and count how many times I saw the name Pete Rose and Barry Bonds, right? Because everyone talks about, they're not there. They're there all over the place. The Hall of Fame is 2 things. It's the plaque gallery where you have, the people who are inducted, and it's the museum, which is a representative of what happened in the sport of baseball. And sometimes the displays change and different things happen. Barry Bonds and Pete Rose are all over the museum, all over, just like any other player. And so to say that they're not represented there is just inaccurate in Cooperstown, because they're there. They're just not in the Hall of Fame plaque gallery. And I think when you look at Pete Rose, and some people say what they did off the field does not matter. I don't know that I can buy that when there are certain things. And with Rose in 2017, the report came out that he had an inappropriate relationship with a teenager.
15, right? 15-year-old?
She said in court documents she was 14 or 15 when the affair started, because that's what it was. Rose was in his 30s, married with children. Rose says that he thought she was 16. That's his excuse. I thought she was 16. In Ohio, 16 is the age of legal consent. So that's what he went with. I'm sorry.
The way he was combative about it, telling the reporters at the time,
and that when
it was 50 years ago. Why are we talking about it? You weren't even alive when it was happening.
And in the court documents, she said that he brought her outside of Ohio, traveled with him, and which would make it a felony outside of Ohio. He says it only happened in Ohio. He said the thing because he admitted that he did it. And so, but he says, I'm okay because I thought she was 16. In his mind, it doesn't matter what she really was. Yeah. I thought she was 16. And he said it only happened in Ohio. I'm sorry, but this is not the type of person that baseball should be celebrating.
Right.
With a spot. And I know there are horrible people enshrined in Cooperstown, in the plaque gallery. I'm not saying there are not. I don't think we should put more of them in there. And especially one like Rose, who has his entire life set an example that we should not be following. We should not be honoring. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the museum. I think that should be enough. And I was disappointed to see the actions by Major League Baseball.
The Reds honored him again for some reason the other night with 14 seconds of silence. I don't understand the reason for doing that again, but they did, and they're going to continue to tout his legacy there in Cincinnati. It is rivalry weekend, interleague for the most part, rivalry weekend throughout all of baseball. So you have White Sox and Cubs. That game is now underway. And then all the other ones that we know about. Which rivalry this season, which one of these this weekend with the two teams are you looking forward to most?
I mean, that Guardians-Reds one's going to be fun. I think Cincinnati is an interesting team still. Cleveland's an interesting team. The Mets-Yankees, that's what everyone's going to look at, right? I mean, I talked about the Opta prediction model earlier, and Opta has the Mets, and the Mets predicted at 100 wins. The Yankees predicted at 99.5 wins. So they're going to be everyone's going to talk about them. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. The fact that the Red Sox and Braves are in interleague rivalry, I'm not quite sure how that works, even though they shared a franchise a long time ago. But
I think that's what it is. Yes, I think that's
the connection they can draw because the Red Sox didn't have the Yankees
exactly
with, right? They had to find somebody.
Yeah. And Atlanta doesn't really have a geographical rivalry.
Yeah, and then there's the San Francisco Sacramento rivalry.
Oh yeah,
that everyone knows about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just the Athletics.
Just the
Athletics. Yes. Chances are to see Chris Sale pitch in Boston again.
So, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you do get Chris Sale in Boston again tonight. In that one, throughout the rest of baseball, the other one, Mariners Padres again. That's the one of those where it's all right. You guys are left. You guys are dance partners for this.
But it's gonna be a fun series, though, right?
It's two good teams playing each other.
It's gonna be a good time.
And then I don't know. I can't remember who it was that wrote the article, but saying again, when you get Angels Dodgers, it's just a chance for the Dodgers and Shohei to just show Artie Moreno, hey, you could have marketed this guy like this, and you didn't for 7 years, and you just failed to do so.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy to say it, but no hotter hitter in baseball right now than I think Shohei, which somehow, I mean, it's one of those where it's like, yeah, duh, but no, Shohei is absolutely on fire right now.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Did strike out though to a position player last night.
He probably felt bad. He didn't want to pat
no, the guy tossed it up. I can't remember who it was from the Athletics last night that pitched, but kind of was doing the whole lobbing it in there thing like you're seeing position players do, and then went up top of the guys at 89.
I love it.
And struck him out, and then threw the ball into the dugout afterwards to keep it.
That's amazing. Yeah, if you strike out Shohei Ohtani as a position player, I'm doing the exact same thing.
So good baseball this weekend. I'll hit refresh one more time. And do not see a lineup yet for that, but check out the Sports Hub STL socials. And you will see the lineups when they are posted. Our series preview also up there as well right now, too, with Kylie Hansen. So check that out when you have a chance. Post-game show coming up after Royals and Cardinals tonight here on Sports Hub STL. And after every game all weekend long, along with Cards Hub 365 each and every day, powered by Gray Bar. Until then, he is Ryan Fagan. I'm Joe Roderick. Have a great weekend, everybody, here on Sports Hub STL. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.